Hey everyone. Didn't expect this live tonight. Savannah Guthrie and her siblings are speaking out. We just put out an interview sharing that we do know that Savannah and her family are aware of the alleged ransom note. Let's just take a listen right now. I actually haven't even heard the whole video, and then let's process this and I'll tell you everything we know right now. There is quite a lot coming down. Let's play this.
On behalf of our family, we want to thank all of you for the prayers for our beloved mom, Nancy. We feel them, and we continue to believe that she feels them too. Our mom is a kind, faithful, loyal, fiercely loving woman of goodness and light. She's funny, spunky, and clever. She has grandchildren that adore her and crowd around her and cover her with kisses. She loves fun and adventure. She is a devoted friend. She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
The light is missing from our lives. Nancy is our mother. We are her children. She is our beacon. She holds fast to joy in all of life's circumstances. She chooses joy day after day. Despite having already passed through great trials of pain and grief, we are always going to be merely human, just normal human people who need our mom. Mama, if you're listening, we need you to come home. We miss you.
Our mom is our heart and our home. She's 84 years old. Her health, her heart is fragile. She lives in constant pain. She is without any medicine. She needs it to survive. She needs it not to suffer. We too have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us. Mommy, if you are hearing this, you are a strong woman. You are God's precious daughter, Nancy. We believe and know that even in this valley, He is with you. Everyone is looking for you, Mommy, everywhere. We will not rest. Your children will not rest until we are together again. We speak to you every moment, and we pray without ceasing, and we rejoice in advance for the day that we hold you in our arms again. We love you, Mom.
Love you, Mom.
We love you, Mom. Stay strong.
We love you, Mom. We love you.
Gosh, that was hard to watch. That was Savannah Guthrie, host of the Today Show, with her siblings. Cameron is the oldest in the family, and then there's Annie, and then there is Savannah, the baby of the family. A few things that I noted that first off, they're looking for proof of life. They want to know if she is absolutely alive. We did an interview earlier today here at Hidden True Crime with Brianna Whitney, and a reporter with boots on the ground there in Tucson. And she did state that Savannah Guthrie did have this alleged ransom note that her station in Tucson also received, as well as TMZ. And the one concern has been that they have not seen proof of life. And you heard Savannah there stating very specifically, we are ready to talk. We are ready to listen, but we live in an age where images and voices are easily manipulated. She's clearly referring to AI, artificial intelligence, and that they need, without a doubt, proof that she is alive and that you have her. Very specific request that they are putting out there. Broke my heart when she stated, "Everyone is looking for you, mommy." Everyone. Just hear that word, mommy. Savannah also explains, which we have also heard, that she does not have medication that she needs. We learned a little bit more. This is something we haven't really understood. What's the medication that she needs daily? We do know that Nancy has high blood pressure. There are cardiac concerns, a pacemaker, and that she has mobility issues. But we learned a little bit that she is in pain every day, and that not only does she need the meds to survive, specifically, Savannah just said to not suffer, because she is in pain every day. They want her to have her medication just simply so that she will not suffer. That broke my heart to hear, that it's not just about keeping their mother alive and healthy. It's about keeping her out of pain and out of suffering. We also, I want to point out that Savannah Guthrie stated that she has been through a lot of grief and pain and has walked this grief. I believe that actually even Annie mentioned that. And we have learned that one thing that their mother has been through, and that the entire Guthrie family went through early in Savannah's life, she was 16 years old, was the death of Savannah's father. And Savannah was only 16. Her mother, Nancy, was in her 40s, 46 years old. And her father was 49 years old when he had a sudden heart attack and died at work. And their mother, Nancy Guthrie, who is missing, never remarried. This is according to all sources, a close-knit family with partners and spouses and grandchildren. And they are saying that they all want Nancy Guthrie home. And the one thing that they are stating unequivocally is, we want her home. We need to know proof of life. We're ready to listen. We are ready to talk. We need proof of life. And we need to know that you have her. And without a doubt proof, because we live in the world of AI, show us somehow to these kidnappers that she is alive and that you have her and they are willing to talk. We put out a report a couple of hours ago, an interview with Brianna Whitney, a reporter in Tucson with True Crime Arizona, and she shared a lot. She is in touch with the sheriff's office, and she is in touch with the FBI directly. And she had a lot to say. And so why don't we actually watch that right now? Because I think it goes along with what Savannah Guthrie is actually stating right now with her siblings on either side of her, Cameron and Annie, that that they have known about this ransom note for quite some time now, for days, even before TMZ reported it, we learned today through Brianna. But the concern has been and has always been that they have not seen proof of life. And clearly, these three siblings speaking out, asking for their mother to come home, they're stating that. That's what they need. Let's take a listen to Brianna Whitney, and then I want to talk about everything else that we've learned is happening tonight. A lot of action, actually. So stick with me. Let's listen to Brianna really quickly here. With True Crime Arizona reporter Brianna Whitney. Boots on the ground reporter in Tucson. You're in Phoenix now, but you were in Tucson. Is that right, Brianna?
Yep. Yeah, I was out in Tucson in front of the crime scene at Nancy Guthrie's home, doing all of our investigative reporting from Tucson yesterday as the updates came through. Quite literally unfolded the whole day. Back in Phoenix today, still reporting and working on the story. Back in Tucson tomorrow all day. So much so that we'll be in there in the morning for the press conference all the way through the night in our true crime streaming show.
Okay. Thank you for covering this like you have been, and thank you for giving us a few minutes of your time, as busy as you are. You were even at Nancy Guthrie's home in the Catalina foothills. Is that right?
That's right.
So I think the thing that I'm most curious about right now is, of course, there's a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors going on about a prime suspect, about a possible suspect, about a family member being involved, and you are in touch with the sheriff. Is that correct? Can you tell us what you've learned?
Yeah, the sheriff's department. So I heard and saw the same reporting that went out very late last night. So it would have been late Tuesday night. And I sent an email immediately to the sheriff's department and the FBI, since we know the FBI is involved and they are conducting interviews. They are just as part of this as the sheriff's department at this point when we're looking for information. So I emailed them at, gosh, it must have been 12:30 in the morning, trying to seek some clarity on this. And I think it's hard because as journalists and as news stations, oftentimes we have sources, oftentimes we have law enforcement sources. This is a really touchy investigation based on what is out there, what should or shouldn't be out there, and not wanting to compromise the investigation wherever that may be. There's a lot we're not privy to. The sheriff's department got back to me very early this morning and said, we do not have any persons of interest. We do not have an identified suspect. Then they doubled down in their communication with me about it again, just bolstering that even 2 hours later. And then they went to social media. I'm assuming they've been getting bombarded with messages about this morning saying, look, not only do we not have an identified person of interest, an identified suspect, a prime suspect at that, but these kinds of unsubstantiated reports are really detrimental to the investigation, and at this point would be irresponsible to put out there. So that's the latest that we have, at least confirmed by law enforcement officials. They are aware of what kind of reporting is out there. They are aware that it's about, suspicion of a family member, but at this point, there is no concrete evidence to suggest that that is true.
Okay, and let's be clear, a person of interest happens before a suspect, and so if there's no person of interest, there's definitely not a prime suspect.
Absolutely.
What about this car being impounded? Let's say it as it is, Savannah Guthrie's sister's partner. What are we learning about his car? Because that's also being shared prominently online, whether it's been impounded, it's not been impounded, whether it's been seized.
Yeah, and I've seen the same reports. Same thing. So when I emailed the sheriff's department last night, I wasn't just asking about if they had a suspect. I also was asking a slew of different questions about what what they have seized, what they've potentially towed or not towed, what evidence they have. And the same email that I got back was there was no concrete confirmation of that one way or another either. I know that that's being circulated too. We are actively asking those questions, but without that confirmation, that's not something that we're moving forward with at this time. Of course, we're hoping to learn more, and I think part of this problem with this kind of information being spread so quickly. There's so much interest in this, obvious for obvious reasons, understandable reasons, and so much concern that people want information immediately. And there hasn't been a lot. I mean, we haven't seen any surveillance footage. That's been a huge issue. The sheriff's department has remained pretty tight-lipped about this. It took leaking of an alleged ransom note for the sheriff's department to then address that situation in and of itself. So I think people are desperate for any little piece of information and are latching on to what they can. And I get that. The sheriff is not making himself available today at all for interviews. So our next opportunity to ask him these questions in person is tomorrow morning. That's Thursday at 11 a.m. when he has his press conference. And that's not a guarantee that there's going to be new information, that he's going to confirm anything, that there's going to be any breaking news. It's just a scheduled press conference for him to address the media. So I think as far as more information goes, unless it's breaking news today, Nancy has been found or anything like that. If it's something like that, the sheriff will come out and talk to us again and hold another press conference. If it's not that, it doesn't seem like we'll get in front of him face to face, anybody, until tomorrow morning.
Okay, that is really helpful. And going back to the car being seized, they did not confirm it, but they did not deny it. So they're not
Right.
saying anything.
There was no, yeah, they didn't address that at all. They basically just said, we have evidence. We were working on evidence. We've sent things to the DNA lab. Kind of the same thing that they reiterated before. So no confirmation, no denial, but definitely not providing any sort of yes or no to me.
But the clarity that we did receive, the absolute confirmation is no suspect, no prime suspect, no person of interest even at this time. That is confirmed.
That's confirmed by the sheriff's department. And whether or not behind the scenes they have an idea or they have a hunch or they're tracking down a lead as far as the public side of the investigation, there is clearly nobody they're charging right now, because if they were, then they would name it, then we would see that. So yes, there is no person of interest or identified person of interest, no identified suspect at this time, according to the sheriff's department.
I know you have a busy day. You're doing great work out there. We're really relying on you, Brianna. One last question. This ransom letter, which now multiple media outlets have said they have received one. Anything you can share about that? We reported on it here at Hidden True Crime. We shared that it was unsubstantiated, substantiated. Anything you can share as far as confirming this anymore or what you've heard?
Yes. Yeah. So I have some information on that I can share. But we also are being very, very careful with how and what we share. So our sister station, KOLD down in Tucson, is the news media station that received this alleged ransom note.
Okay.
They turned it over to the sheriff's department. And from there, and that's why they didn't report on it, because the sheriff's department asked them not to. It wasn't until TMZ received an alleged ransom note and went forward with it that then the sheriff's department had to address what had happened with the local news station. The sheriff's department confirmed to CBS News, and we are with CBS News, that is our network, yesterday, that they forwarded that to the FBI. The FBI deemed it at least substantial enough to put that in front of Savannah Guthrie to let her know what was going on and what they were looking at. At this hour, they are still taking this alleged ransom note seriously. We have not gotten any confirmation of whether it's legit or not. That has not been confirmed, but it is being investigated. And the sheriff's department has confirmed that. We know from what we can report that the ransom note that went to our sister station had a certain money number that they were demanding, a time frame or a deadline that they wanted it in, and details that reportedly only the abductor would know. That's what we know was in there that we are able to publicly report. So obviously concerning, but ransom notes are really difficult. You have a lot to trace back to. Where did this come from? What is the demand? What is the likelihood that this is legit or not? That can be hard to do with a ransom note, depending on how it came in and what that looks like. On top of that, it is now Wednesday. And as far as I know, there has definitely been no public confirmation of any point that there is proof of life of Nancy Guthrie. Typically, when there is a rare ransom note request, you typically are demanding something in return for what you took. And right now, we have any indication that there is proof of life of Nancy, that she is somewhere, that somebody has her that's related to this note specifically. So there's a lot of investigating that still needs to go on with these alleged ransom notes that went out to a couple media outlets, but the sheriff's department's actively doing that. Hopefully tomorrow we will learn a little bit more about whether they believe they are legit or not.
Thank you. Well, we'll be following you. Where can we find your reporting as you continue to cover this daily?
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram at Brianna Whitney. I'm on YouTube at Brianna Whitney TV. I'm on Twitter or X at Brianna Whitney, and Facebook as well. Any of those social platforms, I'm constantly posting. Also on TikTok at Brianna Whitney TV, trying to get out there as much as possible. From all angles, to investigative, also who Nancy was. I think that's kind of the big next step for reporting. We may not get a lot of new investigative details today, but there is a vigil being held for her this evening in Tucson. And I hope that we'll get to learn more from the community who is very concerned about, their loved one too. It's not just the Guthrie family, but it's really the whole community of Tucson, which is a relatively small city. And she's been a pillar in this community for a long time. So hopefully we'll be able to get that more personal side of the story today. And then tomorrow, hopefully learn a lot more about the investigation itself.
Thank you so much, Brianna. We'll be following along. Thank you for all you're doing. We appreciate this time.
Thanks, Lauren. I appreciate it.
So to see that full episode with Brianna, because we actually do a full recap of everything that we know so far, you can find that in the description of this episode, as well as pinned comments, and they're right there on the screen. There's a lot more to that episode that we posted a few hours ago. And thank you to Brianna Whitney for coming on Hidden True Crime today. We always appreciate it when she shares what she knows, and she is down there in full force, just working so hard. I think the most important thing, though, that we learned there when it comes to what Savannah is stating with each sibling by her side is that we learned from Brianna that the police deemed this alleged ransom note significant enough that they placed it in front of Savannah Guthrie, and that she knew about it before TMZ also received it, that this local station that Brianna is with had also received it earlier, and they were requested not to report on it, and then only decided to once TMZ released theirs. So we know, though, that the issue, again from Brianna, is that there's no proof of life, and with a ransom note, if this is legitimate, you need to know that Nancy is alive and that she is okay, and that they have her, which is exactly what Savannah Guthrie is asking tonight with her siblings, Annie, with both of her siblings by her side. And I think the other thing that's really important to also point out, because there's been a lot of speculation, law enforcement is adamant that at this time, there is no suspect, and not only no suspect, but no person of interest at this time. Could that change at any moment? Yeah, but the person of interest happens before the suspect, and police are saying absolutely not. We, of course, have a press conference tomorrow. Excuse me. And we have some more information. So again, I recommend everyone heading to our earlier episode, but let's talk about what's happening tonight, because more is happening tonight, because police, law enforcement have actually tonight, after handing the house back over to the Guthries, which it was a crime scene, right? Nancy Guthrie's home was a crime scene on Monday. They handed this house back, but again, they then again tonight said, no, it is again a crime scene. And tonight, law enforcement returned to Nancy Guthrie's home. This is Wednesday evening. This live is Wednesday night. They reestablished it as a crime scene. So they put the yellow crime scene tape back up around the property. It was kind of a surprising move. Multiple agencies were present. This included the Pima County Sheriff's Department, the FBI, who confirmed to be assisting again. Border Patrol agents were there, K-9 units. There was a significant police presence. And from boots on the ground word, we hear 12 sheriff deputies on scene. And the K-9 were actively searching the property. Investigators were searching multiple areas, including inside the house, the garage, a wooded area adjacent to the property. There was a grid search. And it seemed to be, people observed what looked like an investigation of evidence, because investigators were wearing latex gloves and they were doing extensive photography inside Nancy Guthrie's home. And multiple boxes were removed from the residence. And then, according to News Nation reporter Brian Enton, the house, he's there. The house had been quiet for 2 days, right, before the sudden return that no one was expecting. The crime scene tape went up. It was around 6:36 p.m. Eastern time. That would be 4:36 p.m. Arizona time when the crime scene tape went back up around Nancy Guthrie's home tonight. And the Pima County Sheriff Office, though, again, they had previously stated that the home was returned to the family Monday, but they also stated that they would return if new information justified it. And it seems that that happened tonight. They did send out an X post. Let's take a look at the X post about tonight. They claimed that they were just conducting follow-up. And so here it is. Here's the tweet. Detectives are conducting follow-up at the Guthrie home in the neighborhood. Parking is extremely limited. If traffic continues to be affected due to media, the roadway may need to be restricted, and you will no longer have a good vantage point. So a little threat there to the media, stay back. And they have a new media staging map because, as the sheriff said in a press conference yesterday, they're driving him crazy. But I understand, a mother and grandmother is missing. It has rocked the world. Really, it's rocked me. I've never seen a crime quite like this, and it's startling to say the least. That's like the softest word I can think about. And it is just heartbreaking to see Savannah today with her two siblings, again, begging for her mommy and telling her mother, "Mommy, everyone is looking for you. We truly are. We truly are." The police did say, though, I want to point out that they would return if there was new information, authorities confirming new investigative leads. Law enforcement, though, we have learned from sources they remained on scene less than 2 hours, which was interesting, right? With everything going on and everything they were searching, from the property to the garage to the house and photography and latex gloves, they remained on scene less than 2 hours. And then they removed the tape and they left. The next press conference, as Brianna has told us, that is expected tomorrow, Thursday, February 5th. Items, again, were removed from that house. But interestingly enough, Annie Guthrie, who lives 10 minutes away in a house with her longtime partner, nearly 20 years, Tommaso, he- items were removed from her home as well tonight. And then additional officers were seen at the back of her residence. Annie Guthrie was seen leaving her home with investigators carrying a large tote bag. One officer was seen carrying something believed to be a Cellbrite device. And for those that don't know Cellbrite, that's important. It's used to access data from cell phones and devices, specifically cell towers. So Cellbrite is used in every case that I've covered in trial. You know, the FBI comes in and they get this CAS data system and the Cellbrite, and it does extract cell data, but you can also go further and you can test the towers. So, you know, for example, if you have a neighbor and their phone is pinging on the tower, phone pings. Their phone is pinging at the tower, then you can say, okay, well, that makes sense because the neighbor is supposed to be there and a neighbor lives there. But if you see an odd phone pinging at a tower, you know, why are they there and when a nearby tower? So it's interesting that officers are seen carrying what people believe to be Cellbrite devices used to access data from cell phones and devices that was in the house. And let me be clear, I'm not talking about them testing towers with that. That's also used to just extract data from devices, all devices. And that's what it looked like they were carrying. Other equipment was brought inside the house, you know, of Annie Guthrie's home. But again, I wanted to reiterate because law enforcement have made it very clear. And they say that not making this very clear is going to affect the investigation. So I'm going to make this very clear. Law enforcement have stated repeatedly today that no suspect or person of interest has been officially named. Could that change at any time? Yeah. But police are stating, the sheriff's office is stating, law enforcement is stating that saying otherwise could impede this investigation. And one great example of that is, you know, they're asking for tips. They're saying tips are critical to this case. And you don't want anyone thinking that this is solved or that they have a lead and the you know, someone doesn't share a tip that they have, right? Yeah. So I also want to point out too that returning with canines and forensic tools today to Nancy Guthrie's home, it's definitely indicating that investigators are looking for something specific. I'm speculating there, but it seems like a new investigative lead. But they did send an ex post that said this was simply a follow-up. They are just conducting a follow-up to what we don't know. Sources have told ABC that the FBI has reportedly sent additional experts to aid in the investigation, and a supervisor will operate a task force with experts in areas such as hostage negotiation, data storage systems, networks, and secure digital devices. And again, at the beginning of this live, we watched a heartbreaking video of Savannah Guthrie and her siblings. And in this video statement, they stated they addressed essentially their mother's disappearance. They discussed the alleged ransom note, ransom email, whatever we call it. They stated what they need right now is proof that Nancy is alive and that these people have her. Savannah Guthrie explained, we live in a time where audio, where images can be manipulated. She didn't mention AI, but I think that's simply what she's referring to. And they need, without a doubt, proof that Nancy is alive and that they have her. And if they do, she stated, we are ready to talk. We are ready to listen. Despite the rumors that have been swirling today and last night, as far as I can tell, the family appears unified. They appear desperate for answers. You know, we can only speculate what they're feeling. It was heartbreaking to see a show host that we all know so well, anchor of the Today Show, clearly grieving, clearly in a very emotional state. She was supposed to be taking off to host the Olympics, which she is no longer doing because they're trying, as she states, to bring her mommy home. So, heartbreaking. There were a couple more things I wanted to show, and I would like to watch that video one more time. But what about? So I do want to. It is interesting that law enforcement was at Annie Guthrie's home, and let me explain that what we've heard that Annie Guthrie and her longtime partner purchased a house about 10 minutes away from where Nancy Guthrie lives, and they are her main caretakers in town, and that they were with her the night before her disappearance, Saturday night. They're allegedly playing games, and that she was dropped off, and then family was called Sunday when Nancy, a churchgoer who clearly never misses church, didn't show up for a church service on Sunday around 11 a.m. Family looked for her for an hour before deciding to call law enforcement, and that's where this investigation started. Brian Enton, News Nation reporter Brian Enton, is on scene, and he was at Annie Guthrie's house earlier, again, about 10 minutes away. Do we have that footage that we're looking for that. We'll pull that up.
Husband. And this is about 10 minutes away from Nancy's house. So it's pretty close. It's actually a very similar neighborhood in terms of just the houses are kind of spaced out. They're a little bit closer together here, but it's desert out here. It's out on the fringe of Tucson. And you can see there's a lot of media out here outside Annie's house who are all just waiting to see if she comes back. You know, what's happening. The FBI was out here yesterday. I have that confirmed. And they were talking to Annie and her husband. So the media is just out here waiting to see if anything develops here outside the house. But yeah, it's a single story kind of ranch style. You can see like everything else around here. There's a ton of cactus out in the yard. And we don't believe anyone is home right now. So it's pretty quiet out here now. And again, this is just media out here. The neighbors have been coming out and asking sort of for updates and what's going on. Kind of give you an idea of what the neighborhood is like here. Again, the houses are spread out. Kind of a lot of land and space in between the houses. After I left, there was also some action there, which one of my colleagues got some video of. There, Savannah's sister Annie, and who we believe is her brother, came home to the house and then just went inside. So obviously, just a terrible situation for the entire family. There have been some reports that Savannah is staying with her sister there. We don't know that for sure, but we do know that Savannah is still in the area here. In the Tucson area. That's according to the sheriff. What's also interesting is with these ransom notes. So there were 2 ransom notes. One went to...
You can find that full video over on Brian Enton Investigates, his YouTube channel. You know, and then I want to point out that one thing that has been going on is this case is moving so fast, faster than an investigation can go, a police investigation can even go, faster than police can confirm things for us, faster than DNA can be tested, faster than, you know, we want answers and we're curious. And as I prepared today's episode for Hidden True Crime, I think I found myself a little bit confused as to what was confirmed, what was verified, what was rumor, what was some evidence, but not completely accurate. Who has said what? And I've done an entire episode, and I you know, we covered the ransom letter. We cover whether or not there are suspects or persons of interest. we cover a lot over on today's episode. And so I do recommend everyone heading over there and watching that. And it also starts with Brianna Whitney's interview. But I did want to go live when I saw that Savannah Guthrie was speaking out with her siblings, looking united. From what we can tell, they all want to bring their mother home. We had to go live because that's what's most important. Is it's so clear that the Guthrie family wants this video seen. They want this out. They want to bring their mother home. They are worried that she is suffering. That's heartbreaking, right? To think, and be concerned that your loved one is suffering. So again, we will have a link to that in the description of this episode. Thank you to everyone who has been here tonight. Thank you. Thank you for visiting our channel and for subscribing. And then I think because the reason we went live was to listen to the Guthrie siblings request Nancy come home. I did just want to listen to that one more time.
On behalf of our family, we want to thank all of you for the prayers for our beloved mom, Nancy. We feel them, and we continue to believe that she feels them too. Our mom is a kind, faithful, loyal, fiercely loving woman of goodness and light. She's funny, spunky, and clever. She has grandchildren that adore her and crowd around her and cover her with kisses. She loves fun and adventure. She is a devoted friend. She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
The light is missing from our lives. Nancy is our mother. We are her children. She is our beacon. She holds fast to joy in all of life's circumstances. She chooses joy day after day, despite having already passed through great trials of pain and grief. We are always going to be merely human, just normal human people who need our mom. Mama, if you're listening, we need you to come home. We miss you.
Our mom is our heart and our home. She is 84 years old. Her health, her heart is fragile. She lives in constant pain. She is without any medicine. She needs it to survive. She needs it not to suffer. We too have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us. Mommy, if you are hearing this, you are a strong woman. You are God's precious daughter, Nancy. We believe and know that even in this valley, He is with you. Everyone is looking for you, Mommy, everywhere. We will not rest. Your children will not rest until we are together again. We speak to you every moment, and we pray without ceasing, and we rejoice in advance for the day that we hold you in our arms again. We love you, Mom.
Love you, Mom.
We love you, Mom. Stay strong.
We love you, Mom. We love you.
Absolutely heartbreaking. I want to bring up one comment here. Somebody, a listener, has written, I have been so triggered this week. It brings back so many memories of when our beloved Marcia was missing. And this is a family member of Marcia Norman. We have covered her story here at Hidden True Crime. We will put a playlist in the description of this episode. But Marcia Norman's story matters. It is very important. And we mentioned it in the first episode that we covered about Nancy, because I'm so grateful that Nancy is getting the attention that she needs and that she deserves. And so often those that are elderly are not talked about as often in crime as other crimes. And this is Marcia Norman. And Marcia Norman went missing and was found brutally murdered by someone that earned her trust, a handyman, Jeffrey Ziz. He's now behind bars. He should have been behind bars before he killed Marcia Norman. A wonderful woman, a community member, a grandmother, a quilter. And Marcia's life was abruptly taken. She was planning traveling with her children and all sorts of wonderful things. And she lived in a beautiful home. And Jeffrey Ziz, she should have been able to trust him. He was a pastor, or had been a pastor, a former pastor. He had a master's degree. He was a family man, and he earned her trust and did the unthinkable. And it is so heartbreaking when loved, vulnerable adults are taken advantage of or harmed. And we all hope that Nancy will come home. So, as Savannah Guthrie just stated, the world is looking for her mother, for mommy, as she states, and that they are listening, they are ready to talk, they need proof of life, and to know without a doubt that those that wrote this ransom note have her, and they are willing to talk. So hopefully we will learn a lot more at the press conference tomorrow. We will plan to stream that here at Hidden True Crime, as well as bring you every update as it comes. So thank you for being here and supporting our channel and supporting Nancy and the Guthrie family. And thank you also for supporting Marcia Norman's family. And we hope that you will learn about her case. It is ongoing. It is important. And we'll also have a link to that playlist in the description of this video. I can't imagine how triggering this has been. So thank you. We heard you, Savannah, and all your siblings, and we will follow this wherever it goes. Bring Nancy home. We'll see you.